Hello, Mark.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm good. Welcome back to Metal KAOZ.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. With such an album coming out, how could we not?
Well, thank you.
Okay, let me start right away. And I will start with the obvious question. What was the drive to make a concept album?
Well, we had done a concept album before when we did Thane of the Throne, and we approach it differently. We approach it like we're scoring a film. So we thought, well, that's different. Let's try it again, but let's write an original story. Man, that was a lot of work because our singer broke up the story into 10 different parts, and then we started having these band meetings online, every day with all this chat about what each part should sound like. So it's not like I could just write a riff and say, oh, here's for song number 3. No, everything had to have a specific, song number 2, Pray, is about the Panthers' attack. So I thought, well, that's just got to be a fast, aggressive metal song. No, we started having these chats and say, well, it's got to be aggressive, but it's got to sound different from what we do. So I wrote a riff that ends on 4, which is like Runaways' Cherry Bomb or Agent Orange Bloodstain. It's like nothing like what we do. So, but it fit the song, and that became like we were calling it the Panthers theme. And so we had to do that for every song. It had to fit the story. So looking back, it was a lot of fun, but it was also a lot of work. So that was a long answer to your question.
No, it's fine. But wait a minute. Do you mean that you had all the story planned out before starting to write the music?
Yes.
Damn, that's impressive. Although you already said that it was difficult. No, it was challenging, let's say, right?
Yes,
to
challenging.
Try to write music to fit exactly the story. So how long did you have the story? Or did you change the story as you were writing music?
Harry had the story fleshed out pretty good a month before I wrote any music.
Wow.
He had everything fleshed out. And then he started making everything more and more detailed. And we kept having all these band chats. What's going on here? What's going on here? And then I had the idea, well, maybe we should do a comic book. Maybe other people want to know what's going on in the story. So we actually finished recording the record before the comic came out, but then we signed with the label, and then you have the whole release date time pushed back. And so the comic, to the average person, it looks like the comic came out months before, which it did, but they were both done about the same time.
So the signing with Atomic Fire happened as you were writing
October, I think.
So as you had finished the album?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, man.
Yeah, we wanted to do that. We just want to do everything different for once. So we wanted to finish the entire everything, artwork and everything before we signed with the label. So we got it all finished, and we shopped it to 10 different labels. And I'm telling the guys, look, if we get 3 offers, this is really good. And they said, well, maybe we'll get 4. We got 9. And, well, I should clarify it. We got 9 labels that either said, we want to sign you, here's the contract, or some of them said, we love the album, we can't give you what you're asking for.
Yeah.
So we had 9 positive responses to it.
Yeah, things have gravely changed, even before the pandemic, and after the pandemic, it's a whole new territory right now.
Yes.
But going back to the album, so you did practically everything backwards. You had the story ready, and then you write it. You had the album ready, and then you got it. Okay.
That is true.
However, Bound as One, it has to be. You chose this. You wrote this song to open the album and potentially be the first song of the upcoming set list for touring.
Maybe we're still debating that one.
I mean, if you hear the intro, it sounds like the band is revving up the engine and so forth. So this is why
that's exactly what we wanted. Yeah, revving the engine. In fact, the whole album starts with the speed up, revving the engine, and then it ends on a slowdown.
Since you mentioned that, I was trying to figure out whether Last Rites is the end of the story, or as Hollywood does, you leave the door open for something else. Although in the spoken part, it clearly sounds like someone is telling the story that happened 200 seasons ago.
Yes.
So the story is done?
We don't know yet. we have some ideas. We don't know if, the next album probably would not be a follow-up to it, but maybe a few albums later, or because there's definitely more to the story.
So going back to the way you approach this album, what would you say it was difficult? Or because you said already that it was a lot of work. So what made it a little bit more demanding?
I had to throw away a lot of riffs that I liked because it just didn't fit that part of the story.
Okay.
Like the past several Jag Panzer albums, we did, some violin and the orchestration, and that just didn't fit the Hallowed until the last half of the last song. Then there's a lot of it there, but so it was a lot of things we just had to throw away because it just didn't fit the story. The story couldn't be a bunch of riffs, trying to make it fit the story or do this. No, we had to have each song really try to fit what's going on in the story.
For whatever the reason, this album reminds me of the scores of The Light. I don't know why. Maybe it's a little bit more grand and more epic than the Deviant Chord. I don't know why.
It is a little different.
Or maybe just because you worked again with Jim Morris. Could that be?
Yeah, that could be, yes.
And then another question and I spent a lot of time on this. I tried to find out what the Morse code in the beginning of Edge of Knife was saying. You have some Morse code. At least it sounds like Morse code. Yeah, and I could not for the life of me figure out what it's saying.
It's saying help.
Jeez.
And so then we originally, when we wrote the record, we thought, let's just have the Morse code. But then we thought, we could do maybe a small tribute to Neil Peart if we play the Morse code, like Rush played YYZ. So that's why we're playing it in the beginning. Da 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 da. Right,
and after the Morse code, I like that the music, the tempo follows the Morse code. So it's awesome.
That was hard to do. Well, it was hard for me. It was easy for the rest of my bandmates because I'm telling them I'm working really hard on this, and then I played it for them, and they're like, "Okay, that sounds cool, but this is really easy." And then they played it the first time, and I said, "Well, you try writing it as hard because you got to get the tempos to match." And I don't know if they believe me this hard because they all got it in one take. But I said it was hard getting the tempos to match for the Morse code, and it does match pretty good.
Oh,
Patting myself on the back, I worked hard on it.
Oh, yeah. You have my credits, too.
Thank you.
And I read a press release about how Rickard wanted to have a grander sound, to use his huge drum kit. And once I put headphones, I realized the effect that decision had. I mean, I can hear the drums floating around, right? And even though you have so many layers, I can understand I can hear what's happening. So did you have that vision for this sound before even going to production?
Yes. We wanted to do something just that we had never done before. Like doing drums changed in the 80s because people started I got to put a close mic on this bass drum, so you got to hear it. Let's get the snare, so make sure you don't hear any other drums when that snare is being hit. But that's very different from how John Bonham recorded drums. John Bonham, they just put it in a big room and turned all the microphones on. So we said, let's try that. And it's a way different way of doing drums, but I think it sounds, I love it. Some people don't care for it, but most of the people I've talked to really love it. It is a very different way to do drums.
There is more room, right? More. Yes. The music breathes. It's not like everything is compacted. Yeah. And is it right that John and Rickard recorded the drums and bass live at the same time?
Yeah, John came down and he was going to try. He said, well, let's try to do it live. I said, okay, let's give it a shot. We weren't sure how it was going to work, but 1 minute into Bound as One, and we knew it was going to work great. Yeah, I mean, they just locked into each other, and it was cool. It was exciting just listening to them track. And usually I'm not excited listening to drums all day for 2 days, but this was great. It sounded so cool.
Yes, I have to say that I totally agree. What about Ken? So I watched the documentary that Atomic Fire has put out, and it's interesting to hear the story that he wrote the leads, but you didn't say yes, get him full time until he has done. Is this true?
Yeah, our bass player John wanted to hear. You're the only one I've told who it is. He wanted to hear because Ken, he said I finished 2 songs and they were brilliant. I said, yeah, okay, well let's hire him. And John said, I want to hear all 10. What if the 10th song is terrible? I said, come on, it's not going to be. He sounds great. No, I want to hear everything. He said, I have to play everything on the record. I want to hear everything. Have him do everything. So I called him up, and Ken, you're going to have to do everything. That's okay. I mean, Ken's got a great attitude. I'll do everything. And yeah, he did. And then right when he finished that last song and sent it over, my phone rings, and it's from John like 8 seconds later. Yeah, hire him.
Oh, my goodness. And honestly, I thought it was you.
Yeah, everybody thinks it's me. I was ready to give him the job after the first couple songs. Yeah, everybody's asking me, why did you make Ken do it? Everybody thinks it's me. No, it's not me.
No, the cat is out of the bag now. But what does Ken bring in Jag Panzer? Although whoever listens to the album, they will understand that it fits so well. He fits so well to your sound. So, but you as being the guitarist, what do you think? What do you know he brings to the sound?
He brings a good attitude. He brings an energy. He wants an energetic feel to a track. He's not concerned about each note being perfect, which is, I mean, that's cool if you're Yngwie or somebody. I mean, that's what they do. But I wanted lead guitar like Glenn Tipton, just go for it and just put some fire into it and, put some feel. And that's what Ken's all about. And Ken also, he takes rejection well. You have to learn being in Jag Panzer. You could work on a part all week and the other guys in the band could say, nope, change it. And a lot of musicians get so angry with that. No, I've worked on this for all week. No, but we're all used to working with one another and we all will always change our parts to try to make a song better. And he was great about that. I remember the first time I had to call him and tell him, yeah, that part you're doing in the chorus, I don't like it. And he said, what part don't you like? All of it. I don't like all of it.
Oh,
he said, okay, I'll make it better. And he did. It was great because everybody in the band we all do it to one another all the time. Don't like that part, Mark, change it.
Well, and I'm not saying that you are old. You know that when you reach a certain age, it's not only being proficient in your instrument. You need to play well with others.
Yes.
So that's the bottom line. If he fits, then that's great. Everything else will fall in place.
That's a great point because we have a certain style of playing together, and I have a certain way I approach rhythm guitar. Yeah, you have to fit. Like, back to my Yngwie example. I mean, he's a fantastic guitar player, and I love Yngwie. He would not fit in our band because his style is so completely different from mine. But Ken works really well with me.
Well, Yngwie is a band on his own, so
yes.
You cannot bring another band in your band. It doesn't make sense.
That is true.
So how about Ken Mary? He was involved in the drum sound, right? In the production?
Drum and bass sounds, yeah. He was great. He's a great engineer. He's got a great sounding studio, big drum room, good mics, and yeah, he just let Rickard play. I mean, really, all the songs were just Rickard just playing through everything. It was great. He wasn't one of those guys like, well, let's work on the bass and snare part during the bridge. And just like, no, it was just, let's just play and record everything. It was great.
Yeah, again, this goes back to the live sound of the album. It's very, not raw, I will say. It's live. Exactly, I cannot find another word. It's live, and that's the bottom line. And although I did laugh again watching the documentary that Richard was searching for, he was looking for a real estate to fit his drum kit. So I was very curious to see how did he choose the studio. Okay, what amps do you have? Okay, what mics? Okay, how many square feet is your...
Yeah, no, that's really what it was. Because the two albums before, Scourge of the Light and Deviant Chord, he recorded in a very small room. His big kit, he got several drum kits, his big kit wouldn't even close to fit in that room.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, for this album, he's calling studios and asking for square footage.
Will he be taking this drum kit on the road? No, right?
No, too expensive. Yeah, a whole lot. For the big shows, for shows like Bakken and Alcatraz and Headbangers Open Air, he'll probably have a kit the same size.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have a big kit. But for the smaller club dates, it's whatever we can come up with.
So unless the band plays outside and Richard is the only one inside. Speaking of live plans, I saw that you have, of course, in Europe there is the festival season right now. So first of all, are you planning to play songs from the new album in the upcoming live shows?
I think we're doing 3 or 4 from the new album.
Okay.
Mixed in with a bunch of classics.
Great. So when the official tourist cycle for this album will start? And where?
Yeah, it's festival season this summer. We started with Headbangers Open Air, and then we're doing Bakken and Alcatraz and some club shows. Then we have a festival here in the States, Blades of Steel. We have something going on in January. Everybody in the band has different jobs, and I don't do anything with the touring, but they just told me, have your passport ready in January. And I said, okay. And I guess we're going someplace new. I don't even know where yet.
Oh, my goodness. So what about the US, the States? When should be expecting?
I think maybe next spring.
Okay.
Maybe next March or so.
Okay, that's cool. I wanted to ask, who did the spoken parts in the album?
Well, one of them, we auditioned several people for both. And the guy, the male, he's a British voice actor. He does some tea commercials. And
tea commercials?
This is all he does for a living. Yeah, in the UK, he's just a UK commercial guy. We had whittled it down. And then the part of the teenage girl, we auditioned about 6 girls for that part. And then the one that got the role, Rickard, our drummer, said, pick the one you want. And I said, well, number 4 is the best. And he said, okay, well, that's my daughter. She's a college actress. And I said, okay, well, she got the job then.
You have to appreciate that he didn't share that information prior to choosing.
Yes.
Speaking of time, next year it will be the anniversary of Fumble Distraction. Although with a new record out, I would prefer to hear the new music, the new songs, instead of the old ones. Still, it's kind of a cliche question. Are you planning to do anything about that?
I don't know. High Roller's been releasing it. They've been doing a great job. So I have to ask them if they're doing a special release. We probably won't do any Ample shows. I mean, we've done it before, and we always play Ample songs live. So I don't think there's going to be any special Ample shows. I'm going to do a special Ample T-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it'll probably be a special shirt and maybe a special edition for sale. But we can't do an Ample show with a new album out. I mean,
no,
that would just be,
please don't.
Yeah.
Although I'm sure you will get some propositions to do that for the entire show, but still.
Oh, we always do, yeah.
Yeah, come on. What is the first thing that comes to mind when you think that album?
Yeah, this is a good question because I'm very proud of it. I have to remind people always that when it came out, it didn't do that well. Metal Forces was the heavy metal Bible. Everybody around the world bought it, and they ranked it 15th for that month. 15th best album of the month. They gave it an 8 or an 8.5, which really is like a C. And we didn't have a European deal. All we had was Azra. And I remember Azra calling me saying, you have the rights for Europe. You should try to get a deal. And I tried giving it away to European labels. Here, Ample Destruction for free. No one wants it. So even though Ample's considered an underground classic now, we didn't get any of the benefit back then. And I try to get people to understand, ample. We didn't get a big tour about it. We didn't get Headbangers Ball. We didn't get any benefit back then from it. So I'm proud of it, and I appreciate that people like it now, but we did not get a career boost from it.
Yeah, it's one of those albums that it was ahead of its time, maybe. And it's bizarre when we think now how great of that album is. But yeah, I don't know, man. But it's hopeful, right? After 40 years, you get the recognition you deserved. Oh, man, I don't think it sounded good. That's about it. I'm really hoping to get soon the vinyl. I will get a copy for my own delight because, digital doesn't sound the same.
The vinyl's cool. I got a copy last week of it.
And I will be on the lookout to see Jag Panzer on the road.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that'd be cool. If you come see us, come up and say hello.
I will. Thank you very much, man. Have safe travels. And my regards to the rest of the band.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.